brainwashed, digmatized by a dick that doesn't even exist for real. Hey nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today we're hopping back into our review of the show Lovecraft Country. Today we're going to be focusing on episode 9, Rewind 1921. But before we get into that, I just want to thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Now let's get into this. This episode opens with the family arguing over an unconscious Dee. If you remember, last episode she was getting chased by the demons and they caught up to her, so now she's under a curse. And as everyone is arguing on what to do, Tick says the one thing that nobody wants to hear. He wants to call Christina for help. And everybody's looking like, no. Tick says they don't have any other options, so he's gonna call Christina down here and he's gonna trade the lost pages so she can help Dee. That is until Letty chimes in and says, well, she kinda already sorta has the pages already because I gave them to her. Tick is like, okay, why? And she says, well, I traded them for invulnerability for you, but she gave it to me instead. So Montrose hops up and tries to get buck with Letty, and then in comes Ruby defending her sister. That's very rare. And she's like, there is a reason why she took that spell. And before she can spill the beans on her pregnancy, Letty just says, let it go. Just drop it. Ruby says if Christina won't help for Tick, then she'll help for me because we got a little ting going on. She didn't say that, but that's why she'll help for her. So the next morning, Christina comes over, and as she's taking a look at Dee, she tells the family that the curse is a combination of Titus's magic and the stolen pages from Horatio. And she tells them she cannot reverse the curse without the Book of Names, and that's been sealed with the captain. And she finds out from the group that the captain is dead. Christina says she can cast a restoration spell, but it'll only reset the curse, and eventually it will catch up to Dee and she will die. And she only agrees to this if Tick will willingly come with her to Artem on the night of the autumnal equinox so she can sacrifice him. And Tick, without question, says yes. Best big cousin ever. Dee is literally his baby. Like, why wouldn't he sacrifice himself for her? Then we cut to Lancaster, the captain, who I thought was dead. He is screaming, crying, throwing up on the floor. He is in pain because his stolen torso is falling apart. So from what I understand, remember I was kind of skeptical about why he had a black man's torso. Apparently this is some kind of healing spell because he will take body parts from black men and attach them to his own so he can basically be invulnerable or something. And guess who's back? William. And Lancaster's men are shitting themselves because they thought William was dead. But Lancaster realizes right away that this is Christina that he's dealing with. And this sorry ass dude is begging for Christina to save him, but she just sits there and watches him bleed out. That's exactly what the he get, okay? Back to Montrose, and he's drinking again, and he's supposed to be preparing his blood for the restoration spell that Christina is going to do later. She needs the blood of the closest family member of Dee, and of course Hippolyta is not here to do that, so it's Montrose's responsibility. And then Tick finds him drinking, and he's like, what are you doing? Like, you need to get yourself together for Dee. And Montrose tells Tick that he's worried that his blood may not work. Tick's like, why is that? And this is finally where Montrose drops the bomb. He said, boy, I am not your daddy. And Tick's like, so who is then if you're not? And he goes, your uncle was your father. Honey, Tick went off. And that is so fair because his whole life he had to deal with Montrose's abuse, and that whole time he wished that George was his father, just for it to be true that George was actually his father. So Letty comes through and she's like, hey, Christina's back and she's ready to do the spell. In the nick of time, Hippolyta just appears through the doors. Girl, where you been at? Tick, Letty, and Montrose are standing around like, oh, we're knee deep in shit. We're nipple deep now. Hippolyta's like, where's Dee? Well, So before Christina starts the spell, we see that Dee is transforming even more. She's starting to turn into one of the Pickaninny demons. And as Christina is doing the spell, we see her arm starts to decompose. It's real nasty looking. Maggots coming out of it and shit. I hate maggots. I hate... No. But shortly, Dee is returned to her normal form. So Christina and Ruby are leaving, and Letty tries to stop Ruby from going with Christina because, honey, she cannot be trusted. Then Ruby gets defensive and starts talking shit about Tick. You can't trust him either. You should have stayed out of his business. Da, 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 da. You are one to talk. You are literally brainwashed, dickmatized by a dick that doesn't even exist for real. You are the brainless one here. This is how you know when Masaka is like an incredible actress, because she pisses me off every single time. Ruby got me heated. And Letty's like, girl, she is still playing you. I bet that bitch didn't tell you that she's gonna kill my boyfriend, the literal father to my child. Did she tell you that? No, she did not. We cut back to Hippolyta, and she is frantically packing the car because she's about to take Dee 6 hours across the nation to go back to the observatory. So this is the plan. She's gonna take everyone back to the observatory and turn on the multiverse machine. It's not a time machine. Multiverse, excuse me. That's where she was this whole time. She'd been traveling through different realities and she fixed the machine. So the plan is for the gang to jump back to 1921 Tulsa, Oklahoma, find Tick's mama's family and get the book of names from them, because in this timeline it don't exist no more. They get the book, they come back, they can break Dee's curse. Hippolyta is like, y'all will not believe the shit that I've been through, that I've seen, that I've learned. Trust me, get in this car, we're gonna go back to the observatory now. Back to Ruby and Christina, and Ruby finally meets the original design for her skin suit, and she learns who she was before Letty hit her in the head with the shovel. Ruby cuts to the chase, because she somehow still has some sense. She turns to Christina and she goes, are you finna kill Tick or nah? And do not lie to me. Christina then lays out her grand master plan for immortality and free will, because, you know, that's what villains do. They like to, you know, spoil shit. Ruby then makes Christina promise that she won't hurt Letty. She promises. Spoiler alert, she's not gonna keep that promise. The bitch is pure evil. Then Ruby has the nerve to say, you know, when I envisioned myself as a white woman, I always imagined myself to be a redhead. First of all, now is not the time to make jokes. And second, are you implying that Christina killed a redheaded white lady so you can have a different skin suit to change into? Cut back to the gang and they have made it to the observatory. We see Montrose on the verge of another breakdown because he is reliving all of his trauma again, and we can literally hear the memories in his head. So as they're setting up in the observatory, Letty finally tells Montrose why she took that spell. But before she can say so, he finishes the sentence for her. He goes, I know you pregnant. I know. Letty's like, how do you know that? And then he was like, well, Tick knew when he jumped to the future. And she realizes that the reason she didn't know that Tick knew is because he was going to die. So Hippolyta and Tick get the multiverse machine up and running. So Hippolyta decides she is going to be the motherboard for this big ass computer. She's doing this so she can steer the multiverse machine in the right direction and keep it stable. Y'all remember those purple plasma devices that she had embedded into her wrist in episode 7? She still got them, so she's gonna use that as the source. And it worked. She just sticks some wires in there and poof, a hole is torn in the universe again. Tick and Letty jump through, but Montrose, he hesitates. And you can tell by the look on his face, he is scared to experience his childhood all over again. Tick overhears some girls talking in the hallway about how their school dance was canceled and it had something to do with white people. Montrose chimes in and he says, that's my prom. That was my high school prom that got canceled right before everything happened. So the gang disguises themselves in some era appropriate clothing and they get to going. So Montrose is experiencing some heavy PTSD. We find out he was just a little bit drunk. When he hopped through the portal, he was drunk. Tick is sick of his shit. And at this point, he just wants him out of the way. He even goes as far as to disown his father. After this mission is done, we get the book and we say, Dee, you're cut off. I'm done with your ass. So the gang goes to Montrose's old neighborhood. And before Letty can cross the street to go to the house, we see a young Montrose getting beat in the front yard by his father. Imagine watching your younger self go through that. That breaks my brain so much and it's so sad. Then Dora Tick's mom, young Dora, comes to rescue Montrose. And we can tell that the father favors George because George is straight, Montrose is not. Dora gets on George's ass for not defending his brother because, yeah, why are you just standing there? What you doing? Tick and Letty turn around. Montrose is gone. This is the shit I'm talking about. Why are we letting people just walk around willy-nilly? We are on a mission and you wasn't keeping an eye on your drunk ass daddy. Now he missing. So this is the point where they decide to split up. So Tick is gonna go find Montrose. Letty's gonna go retrieve the book from the mama's house. So Letty is embarking on her part of the mission and she ends up getting chased down by a group of white men shooting at her. She does get shot, but you know the bullet doesn't graze because she got that marked cane on her rib cage and stuff. So yeah, she almost get got for real, but then she ends up on Dora's family's doorstep and they take her in. Dora and Montrose's families are holed up in the house together, banding together for what is about to come. The men get their guns and they go find the kids because young Montrose, young George, and young Dora are missing. So they're about to go find them and the women stay in the house. So Tick gets to the park and he finds Montrose there about to screw everything up. Tick is watching young Montrose interact with the boy he used to love. Experiencing this again, Montrose is having a lot of repressed memories come up and he wants to go and save that boy. And I do want to note that in this moment, young Montrose is basically telling the boy that they can't be friends anymore because, you know, you're gay and I'm not, just being homophobic because of his own internalized homophobia. And as Montrose was trying to save him, he was like, maybe I can fix this, I can save him. Tick's like, no, you cannot. You have to let it happen how it was meant to happen because if you go and interfere, you're gonna f up the timeline. This is a very emotional scene. Cut back to Letty and she is ransacking these people's house. I think this is Dora's mother, Dora's grandmother, her grandmother, right? It gotta be her grandmama, I think. I don't know. It's either Dora's mother or Dora's grandmother. Her name is Hattie. She busts in the room with a gun and she automatically knows like what something ain't right. She's like, who are you? What are you? I have never seen those shoes before. Something's wrong with you. Letty immediately cracks under pressure and blows her cover. Can't take you nowhere. And Letty tells Hattie that she needs the book of names, and then Hattie gonna sit over here acting brand new. The only book I know is the good book. Ma'am, we do not have time for your religious psychosis. Give me the fucking book. And Letty proves she's telling the truth, that, you know, she's from the future because I saw that birthmark on your cousin's picture, and your grandson or great grandson has the same. So come on. I need to look this up. Sorry, this is bothering me. I gotta look it up. I gotta confirm. I gotta confirm if she's great grandma or grandma. Oh, okay, I got it. Tick's great grandmother, and this is his mama's grandmother. Got it, okay. So great grandma Hattie finally turns her brain on and she says, wait, you came from the future to the past to get the book. We finna die, ain't it? And as soon as the rioters set fire to the family house, Montrose and his friend are being surrounded. And unfortunately, his friend did not make it because one of the attackers shot him in the head. And cut back to Letty and great grandma Hattie. She's trying to appeal to her better nature, saying that, you know, I don't want Tick to not exist because I love him. I'm in love with him. And I'm carrying his big-headed baby. Please have mercy. And at the very last second, great grandma Hattie has a change of heart and she retrieves the book of names for Letty. Cut back to the park. Young George and young Dora find young Montrose in the midst of the chaos. We cut back to great grandma Hattie and she says this.
When my great-great-grandson is born, he will be my fate turned to flesh.
And then at that very moment, a Molotov cocktail is thrown through the window and the fire starts to spread. She then tells Letty that the book is bound by a spell and she's gonna share the incantation. Back to Tick, and he is about to witness the story that his Uncle George has told to him multiple times over. Do y'all remember? Do y'all remember the story from the first episode? What happened? If you don't, go back and watch that video. It's up to the point in the story where the mysterious stranger shows up and saves them by cracking home runs on the attackers' heads. But something's wrong. He's not there. And as Tick moves forward, he sees there's a bat at his feet. Tick was the mysterious stranger the whole time. That just goes to show you that the past, present, and future is all happening at the same time. Cut back to Letty and Great Grandma Hattie. The flames are swallowing the room and she knows she's about to go, so she asks Letty to pray with her one last time. And the scene cuts back and forth from this to Tick saving his younger parents. A spoken word piece called Catch the Fire by Sophie Sanchez is scored over this scene. Tears in my eyes. Every single time. It doesn't matter how many times I watch the show, tears in my eyes. Then Tick finally looks to the children and he says,
He'll catch the fire and burn with eyes that see our souls
I got you, kid.
walking, singing, yeah, building, laughing.
you see how everything came right back round? You see how everything just came right back up? So Tick and Montrose are running through the town, narrowly escaping gunfire. They're on their way back to the portal. They get back to their starting place and something is wrong with the portal. It keeps shorting out. And Letty's not there yet. And Hippolyta, remember, she's hooked up to the machine. So she has all this electricity and energy coursing through her. She is damn near crispy trying to keep this portal open. And then at that moment, the portal blinks out. What the hell we gonna do now? So the bombs are starting to drop on the town and Montrose looks down in horror for the second time because he already lived through this once, so living through it again, I can't imagine the trauma that is being reopened. He looks down to the street and he sees Letty walking through all of the carnage, all of the gunfire, and then a bomb drops directly on top of her. This woman walks through the flames, walks through the Katniss Everdeen who? Daenerys Targaryen who? Like what? Look at the cinematography and the song choice too. And she is carrying the book of names through the fire. Come on, Shaka Khan. So Tick, before the portal blinked out, he jumped through and he was trying to motivate Hippolyta to keep the portal open. He's like, come on, do it for D. The fact that her daughter's life is on the line motivates Hippolyta. So she puts all of her energy, all of her power into, you know, the portal, and this woman starts levitating off of the ground because the power is too great. She literally is defying gravity. And then her eyes turn white. And then her hair gets to turning blue. She literally turned into Arythea Blue, like real, for real this time, in this timeline. And just in the nick of time, Letty and Montrose jumped through the portal with the book. The gang succeeded. Woo! And that is the end of this episode. The ending is everything to me. It's everything to me and more. Alright, now that we've went over the plot, it's time for my thoughts and commentary. Is you still on? You still on? Okay. So the overarching theme to me in this episode is loyalty. We get a POV from everyone in this episode. Let's start with Letty's loyalty to Tick and his family, more specifically Dee. She was willing to risk her life by jumping through time, disguising herself in the midst of his family to get that book. Not just because Tick needed her to do it, but she did it for Dee. She did it for the child. Letty isn't even in her second trimester yet, and her motherly instincts are already kicking in. Love that for her. She literally walked through fire for the Freeman family. Letty is willing to sacrifice so much for this family because she truly has grown to love all of them, even Montrose. This is the united family front that she's never had. This is the stability that she's never had. Ruby, on the other hand, I question her loyalty every time I watch the show. I'm gonna just say this. Christina abused Ruby. You cannot tell me otherwise. I don't care what you say. Like, let's keep it real. And this behavior from Ruby stems from like the classic dynamic of abuser and victim. So I won't go too hard on her. And it also doesn't help that her relationship with Letty was rocky to begin with. So that just feeds into it even more. Then there's Tick and his loyalty to his family and to Letty. We all know that Tick is a family man. And in this episode, I do feel that he was trying to redeem himself for the sake of Uncle George. He's trying to make it right by sacrificing himself for Dee, and he still has loyalty to Montrose even after he disowned him. He made the effort and made that decision to save his father's life. He felt moved to save both the past and the present Montrose. Unrequited love. Then there's Hippolyta, of course. There's the loyalty to her baby girl and the loyalty to herself or this new version of herself. Like any great mother would, she's stopping at nothing to protect her baby. And on top of the loyalty she has to Dee, Hippolyta is being loyal to the person that she came back as. She is not the same woman. She's tapping into her new knowledge and new power of like the essence of herself, her brain, because she's been literally across the cosmos, so she knows so much more, and she is so much more because of that. She's fully stepping into the power that she never knew that she had before. So she's staying loyal to that brand new, that newfound sense of power. Now I want to talk about the conversation of confronting your trauma and dealing with your trauma. Trauma is something that can shape people and change their brain chemistry, change them like as a person. It does a number on people. And as we saw in this episode, trauma can cause you to suppress memories. Montrose quite literally came face to face with his past. First, I cannot imagine going through what he went through once, but twice. However, I do feel Montrose facing his trauma head on put things into perspective for him, because at first he was afraid and he was going to be reckless and, you know, mess up the plan. But then he had a moment, he had an epiphany. Some things you can't change the past, but all you can do is move forward and, you know, be better for the future. I think he realized that. And then also that trauma is directly linked to Tick. You know, hearing the stories and actually being there is two different things. So him watching his father's younger self experience that trauma while simultaneously watching his father's present self experience it again. Like, you can't not feel that. That is permeating. There's also something to be said about generational sacrifice. Now, of course, the main vehicle for this very piece of commentary is great grandma Hattie, and we know that had she not accepted her fate, Tick would not exist. I find it so powerful and selfless that she wanted so much for her people in the future, including her great-great-grandson, that she was willing to die. She let her death happen so there could be a future for her family. And she made a huge sacrifice giving up the Book of Names. Stuff like that, you don't just give away, especially not to no stranger. Especially when it's so sacred to your family. Well, she was technically giving it to family, but like I'm just saying, like, in a general sense, it's so sacred to your family and your culture. Even if it is for a good cause, that had to have left a hole in her before she went. I know I'm giving it for the greater good, but that ain't no joke. And lastly, I want to talk about the topic of you cannot erase the past. So it is not news to us that our country was built on racism. We know that, of course. And the Tulsa Race Massacre was just one of thousands of examples. White people could not fathom that black communities were thriving without their help. Mind you, they're the ones that came up with that segregation bullshit. So, like, what do you want from us? So they wanted to erase that progress by killing us. Same exact thing happened with Oscarville, Georgia, aka Lake Lanier. It is crazy to me that this happened not once but twice in history. Probably happened a lot more times that we don't know about. Fully thriving black communities with just black people in it, you know, black owned businesses, all of that, doing well, people at peace. But then the haters outside of the club, you know, they hating from outside of the club and they want to ruin that. But you told us to go over to our own and make our own, so we made our own, and you're mad that we did that? So you kill us? It never made no math. It don't make no math. But anyway, and no matter how much they tried, those racist white people could not bury what they did. They could not cover it up as much as they wanted to do that. And I'm glad they couldn't. Just a side note, I come from a long line of supernaturally gifted women, some of which who were spiritualists, but they always told me this one thing: the land never forgets. And this is why it's so important to keep telling the stories of our bloodlines, so the next generation will have that knowledge and tell the next generation and the next and so on and so forth. Because honestly, I feel like if the people who did survive did not tell or speak of that day, then like we wouldn't know the full extent of what happened. This soil will never forget. The American soil has a lot of blood and sorrow tied to it. The land won't forget ever. But yeah, those are my thoughts and commentary, and I'm done rambling. You're welcome. So that concludes our video for today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and if you made it to the end of this video, comment a fire emoji. Oh hold on, sorry. This is our second to last episode. We're gonna be covering the last episode next week. I know, don't be sad, but yeah, we're gonna be covering the last episode next week. The end of an era. So make sure you tune in for that, okay? Thank you. All right, but yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, please leave a like and comment a fire emoji and subscribe if you want to. I'll see y'all on the next go around. Okay, bye.